Welcome to the Solar Coaster, a renewable energy themed talk show right here in lovely Maui County.
Right. Aloha, welcome to the Solar Coaster live show here, RE Plus 2022. It's our third day, right? Day 0, 1, 2, and 3. I'm here with
Thomas Wild.
Thomas Wild of SPAN. Now, of course, SPAN is a technology near and dear to our hearts. Actually just got through the process of installing the technology, had the experience. I mentioned to you at the party last night, I had the experience of actually using the SPAN system during the first that I remember all-island power outage in Maui, August 23rd, 2:45 a.m., clip Ma'alaya power station arc flash, whole island goes down. So that was pretty amazing. It worked perfectly.
I'm glad to hear that. It was wonderful hearing how your SPAN system actually moderated your load so that you could stretch out your battery life, woke up in the morning and were able to live your life as normal, looking around at your neighbors flipping their breakers and green with envy.
Totally, just a different scenario entirely, right? We've been through short-term outages before, and more regional and localized. And you're just kind of out, and you go out and you fire up the Jenny, and it's loud as heck, and everyone's like, "Geez, that thing is a pain in the butt." Now we got the battery going. I had my reserve, and the lights were on, the curtailed loads. It was really an awesome experience, but that's probably for another show. So what I wanted to talk about was what's happening with the IRA. The Inflation Reduction Act in relationship to this technology. I was legitimately surprised by how this stacked up. You guys must have pumped this out last week because it was just passed recently, right?
Yeah, it's very new.
So what's going on here? Let's talk a little bit about some of the opportunities and the costs and how it changes kind of the ball game for people that may want to get a hold of a smart panel.
Of course, yeah, we're very excited that Biden signed the Inflation Reduction Act. There's a lot of money for energy efficiency and smart home technology, and SPAN is absolutely in the middle of all of it. The 30% tax credit is extended for solar, as you know, and much bigger, but there's also a storage component now, so if SPAN is installed with storage only, there's a 30% tax credit that everyone will be able to take advantage of at the beginning.
That's wild, and it's so relevant for Hawaii because you have this major attachment of batteries to current permit poles, right? Like 85+%
Yep.
of solar going in has batteries, as you know, and then of course, but you have all of the existing NEM and let's say CGS and kind of like post-NEM tariffs that didn't have batteries. People want to put batteries in. They don't always want extra PV, and in the past you kind of had to do it to get access to the tax credit.
Exactly.
So now they can put a battery in and then get a hold of that 30% to help subsidize the cost of doing it.
Exactly, and SPAN's going to make sure that that battery system is efficient and smart and will qualify for the 30% as well. And so we're really going to enable people to go into storage, into renewable for a lot less cost. In addition, there's a $600 tax credit for an electrical panel upgrade that SPAN will also qualify.
And that's brand new, right?
It's brand new starting January 1st.
So you get a 30% on the solar system or the battery system, and then you get a $600 tax credit on the panel itself.
Correct.
Man, you're already kind of like whittling away at the overall cost pretty considerably, right?
Exactly right.
Right, and then this is really particularly interesting. It says low to moderate income. That seems like it was a big part of the bill, the footprint of the bill. It had a lot to do with LTM is what it's called, right?
Yeah, so, not all of the ink is dry on the exact requirements, but there's going to be a chunk of people that are going to qualify for LTM rebates in addition to the 30% and the $600 tax credit.
Right.
We think it's going to be 80% to 150% of median income based on census data.
Yeah.
And we think that's going to be a big addressable market
Right.
all over the islands.
So basically the higher amount will go to like a lower income bracket, and the lower amount will go to a slightly higher, but maybe a middle income bracket, right? Something
Correct.
like that?
Exactly. So $2,500 for 80 to 150%, and anyone below 80% of medium income will qualify for a $4,000.
It's remarkable. It's remarkable because when I walked by and I said, I just want to say hi to you guys and just get a couple of shots of B-roll, I looked at this and I was like, I think that makes it free.
It's fairly close. Yeah,
right?
It's greatly reduced. We also have a rebate on island from Elemental Accelerator right now for an additional $1,100 for a limited amount of panels that are still in market.
$1,100 from Elemental?
Yes.
Yeah, and then Hawaii Energy and Elemental probably working together on that, right?
Well, that's a separate program.
Get another one on Hawaii Energy?
There
I can't
is,
keep
yes.
track of all your rebates and incentives.
Well, and it makes sense. Hawaii is the right market for this
Yeah.
because there's so much storage attachment, and when you're putting energy back onto the grid
Yeah.
or needing to conserve and stretch out your battery life, you
Right.
need a panel that's going to manage that flow.
Yeah.
And spans the fit. So we have worked very hard to make sure that people can access the technology, and we're very excited about this
I
development.
mean, at this stage of the game, I can't imagine any reason why you wouldn't why you wouldn't put a panel in, because it's so supported and it's so functional and it's so, just load control technology in general just changes the way you look at how you use energy. Even before you get to storage and solar and EVs and all the really sexy tech, it just changes the way you look at it, because all of a sudden on a moment in time what a given load is.
Yeah, and we use more energy in our homes than anywhere else in our life. And for the most part, it's a black box. We have no idea what's
Right,
going on
totally.
until this technology came around. And just learning that circuit A or circuit B is inefficient or could possibly having a technical issue or an
Right.
engine or a compressor problem
Right.
can absolutely save a homeowner thousands and thousands of dollars and make themselves able to decarbonize quickly in their own home.
Right. Yeah, even like pre-solar, it could be useful to you for all the reasons you're describing. And then once you're into solar and batteries and electrification of transpo, it becomes even more relevant, right? Because as an example, let's say you have a self-supply system and you want to use as much energy during the day as possible to kind of avoid that retail rate, right? Or not utilize your battery necessarily. If you know your running wattage is, you can be like, I'm going to stack it all in during the middle of the day. My washing machine is 1,200 watts, my dishwasher is 1,300 watts, my whatever, and get it all in there, and then you're basically completely avoiding retail rates.
Yeah, it's the knowledge of having people actually take the data in and act on it is what Span's done that no one else is able to do. So in addition to monitoring every circuit in the home, the ability to turn those on and off from anywhere give you the ability
Right.
to really alternate and reimagine the way you're using energy in the home, and
Right.
just like you said, set yourself up to be very efficient on the billing side or on the consumption side.
Yeah. I'll tell you a quick story before we wrap this up. So I got it in the house. I have catchment on my house, right? So I get my energy from the sun, my water from the sky, right? So it's a pretty sustainable little mini farm homestead kind of thing.
Yeah.
And my catchment system pump, it was my back house, and I wanted to, and that and some freezers and some kind of like almost like things that are absolutely critical for me to have on an outage. So I just changed my circuits a little bit so those would be preserved during, those were the ones that were not curtailed during an outage, right?
Right.
And then so I was able to basically fine tune exactly what I needed for my home, because if I let that get curtailed, then then I wouldn't have water in the house, right? Because that's
Right.
the pump it. So that flexibility, that dynamism, absolutely critical.
Yeah, and if you had a system, your catchment system, and it was totally full, and you didn't need to actually run that anymore because you were
Yeah.
all set up, then you could use that energy elsewhere in the house, right? So you could go
Sure.
back and forth depending on the day or the use case that you have.
At a given moment in time, you can just make those changes. And
Exactly.
you get very familiar with it too, because it's such a fun technology to mess around with, right?
That's great to hear.
Yeah, it's cool stuff, man. It's cool stuff. All right, so that pretty much is what I want to touch base on. And I can see you're integrating with Enphase. We just did a great show with them yesterday. And you're working with a lot of other big companies, so you kind of hand in hand with all the biggies, right?
That's the goal. Right now, 2 of the top 3 residential batteries in the market, and soon to be the 3rd.
Right.
So once we have the top 3, I think it's going to be a fast follow that we could potentially integrate with a lot of different AC systems down
Right.
the line, and that's the technology we're showing here.
Fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap this up?
No, thank you so much for being a believer, and
Yeah.
I'm really glad to hear your story and how everything went well when you went off grid for the first time with Span.
Crazy, awesome experience. Thank you so much. Aloha, everybody.
Aloha.